Look up into the canopy of a tropical palm, and you're immediately confronted by a design problem. These massive clusters of fruit are suspended 30, sometimes 50 feet in the air. Unlike a dandelion or a maple, which rely on lightweight engineering, the coconut is a dense, waterlogged sphere of biological mass. A single cluster easily weighs over 100 pounds. This contradicts the standard logic of plant reproduction. Usually, a seed needs to be light enough to catch a breeze, or small enough to be swallowed by an animal. The coconut seed ignores all of this, opting instead to drop a series of heavy weights straight down into the dirt. If the soil directly beneath the parent tree was the final destination, the species would suffocate itself in a single generation, as the offspring fought for the exact same patch of sunlight. But the ground isn't the destination. The coconut relies on the raw kinetic energy of global ocean currents. To use the ocean as a highway requires surviving a deeply hostile environment. A seed taking this route faces crushing wave impacts, months floating in corrosive saltwater, and zero access to fresh hydration. To survive a journey like that, this green sphere requires the structural integrity of an armored spacecraft. This radical biological engineering enabled the species to span the tropics without the need for wings or animal dispersers. To see how it pulls this off, we have to cut through the hull. This diagram shows the outermost skin, the exocarp. Its job is strictly mechanical, act as a completely waterproof seal to keep the ocean out. Just beneath that seal lies the thickest part of the entire structure, the mesocarp. This is a dense network of interwoven fibers. These fibers serve two purposes. First, they act as a high-compression shock absorber. When falling from the canopy, this fibrous mat absorbs the impact, protecting the internal payload from shattering. Second, the woven structure traps thousands of microscopic air pockets. This creates a highly buoyant life jacket, forcing the heavy seed to the ocean's surface. Even fully saturated by seawater, the pod's density remains lighter than the ocean itself. It rides high and stable, catching the surface drift. Together, the exocarp and mesocarp solve the immediate physics problems of a lethal fall and a deep-water burial, allowing the seed to survive its launch phase. If we strip away that buoyant husk entirely, we expose the central vault. This hard brown shell, the endocarp, is what you likely recognize from the grocery store. Over a drift that can last up to 4 months, the primary threat is contamination. If saltwater breaches the interior cavity, the genetic material inside will instantly die. The endocarp is built from a highly calcified wood-like material. It forms a completely rigid, impenetrable barrier that withstands the constant pressure of the sea and violent collisions with coral reefs upon landing. While the outer hull dictates the travel route, this inner vault ensures the biological payload arrives completely uncontaminated. Arriving intact is just the beginning. A drifting coconut often washes up on sterile volcanic rock or pure sand, environments offering zero topsoil and no fresh water. To survive this landing zone, the seed carries its own life support system. Inside the vault is the endosperm, a highly specialized dual-phase nutrient reserve. The hollow center holds a supply of liquid coconut water. This is a naturally sterilized, self-contained freshwater reservoir that keeps the sprout hydrated while baking in the harsh tropical sun. Lining the walls is the solid white meat. This layer is packed with incredibly dense caloric fats, acting as an energy battery to fuel explosive root growth before that fresh water runs out. Because of this internal layout, the coconut is a completely self-sufficient organism. It can wash ashore on a desolate beach and trigger an entire growth cycle without drawing a single resource from the environment around it. When the temperature and humidity conditions are met, the embryo rapidly consumes its fat and water reserves. It generates enough mechanical pressure to force its first green shoot straight through the hard vault and out through the rotting hull. Simultaneously, thick taproots breach the bottom of the shell. They dive downward, physically anchoring the vulnerable plant into the shifting shoreline sand. Seeing one of these young sprouts take hold is witnessing a massive statistical triumph over the lethal, grinding mechanics of the ocean. Multiply that single survivor by millions of years, and the scale of this strategy becomes clear. This floating seed successfully mapped the global tropics long before humans existed. It acts as ecosystem zero. Once a palm tree anchors itself, its roots stabilize the loose sand. Its canopy throws shade across the beach, building a microhabitat that allows smaller, weaker plant species to finally take root. When you look back up into the canopy of a palm, those heavy green clusters reveal their true function as the payload for a global expansion strategy. The green coconut is nature's pioneer, a self-sustaining survival pod that provided the stability and shade necessary for barren shorelines to transform into the tropical coastlines we see today.